Good evening, and welcome to the Bernal Middle School GT Showcase. My name is Colleen Guzman, and I'm the GT Specialist here at Bernal. I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for coming to our GT Showcase. The students have worked diligently all year to research a topic, to create a product that showcases that topic, and to improve on their presentation skills. Before we begin the evening's presentations, I'd like to give you a little background information about the work the students completed on their journey to this evening. The first step in their journey was research. Their teachers, the librarian, and I took them through several exercises where they learned how to research and the importance of research. They were required to use a minimum of 10 sources for their research to help them understand how one source may have a small amount of information that leads you to another source with more information, or how one source gives you information that you don't understand. So you have to research some secondary information to understand what they were talking about in the first source. This part of the process took several months to complete. The next step was to learn how to turn that research into a product that would inform people or help people. We talked about the benefits of different types of products and how our product should be something that helps humanity by creating a new way to do something or by educating people through technology or a visual. We discussed how difficult it was to locate reliable sources and how important it is to be a reliable source ourselves. This step in the process was the most difficult for the students because it requires them to consider themselves and their topics as part of a larger world and not just as a microcosm of a school presentation. We will continue to work on this learning objective the remainder of the year and into next year. Throughout all of this, the students have also been practicing their presentation skills with short presentations about schoolwork or about their progress on their GT project. We have practiced the skills of engaging the audience, of having proper body language, of speaking clearly and with the correct volume, and of presenting in a specified time frame. As you watch their presentations tonight, you should be able to identify their hook, which they should use to engage the audience, the body of their presentation, which should predominantly showcase their product, and their research, and their closure, which should lead to the open question portion of their presentation. Their goal is to present for a total of 7 minutes, which seems short to us, but to a child seems like an eternity. Many of the students will be nervous, so they will need our help to smile at them as they present, to nod our heads in agreement, and to just generally be interested in what they are saying. Our audience participation will also help them to make more eye contact and to feel at ease when presenting. All of these steps have been a journey to learning new skills that will help them as they continue to pursue their education and as they move into the adult world. As they take this final step in their journey tonight, I would like to ask that you help them out. In order to learn and improve, we must receive feedback. The students will be getting feedback from the teacher in the room and from their peers, but I would also like to ask you to provide them with feedback as well. There are audience review forms available in each of the rooms for you to use to tell the students one thing they did well, one thing they could work on, and one thing that you learned from their presentation. Once you fill out the forms, you can leave them with the teacher in the room. They will staple all the forms to the student's rubric, and we will give the students all of their feedback at once. Before we begin our first presentations of the night, I would like to take a minute to thank all of the teachers who worked with me this year as we took the students through this learning experience. Thank you, Mrs. Contrastano, Mr. Van Lisbettens, Mr. Castro, Mrs. Hanley, Mrs. Lawless, and Mrs. Bayardo. You have been an amazing team. And thank you to all of the teachers and administrators who volunteered their time tonight to stay and make this evening possible. And lastly, thank you, students, for all of the hard work you have put into making this evening possible. Now, without further ado, we will begin our first presentation.